I am Chad, and in 1996, I found myself in Okinawa, Japan, a world away from my hometown of Glasgow, Scotland. At 26, I found myself on the cusp of adventure, freshly graduated with a degree in literature and a vague, tantalizing dream of exploring the world. The JET program, an esteemed teaching exchange designed to immerse foreign educators in Japanese culture, beckoned to me like an open door leading away from the dreary gray of Glasgow's tenements. In August, I stepped off the plane in Naha, the buoyant capital of Okinawa, where the air was thick with humidity and the vibrant colors of tropical life enveloped me. My skin tingled under the relentless embrace of the subtropical sun, awakening my senses to this new land. Assigned to teach English at a junior high school in Shetan, a small coastal town renowned for its bustling American military bases and breathtaking sunsets that painted the sky in rich shades of orange and crimson, I felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The allure of the East China Sea, its waves whispering secrets of distant shores, promised a chapter of my life filled with discovery and transformation. That's where I met Kelly. It was September 3rd, 1996, during my second week in Japan, when I climbed aboard a rickety local bus bound for Naha, the air infused with a melange of fish and diesel. The bus creaked as it jolted forward. The seats, though worn and frayed at the edges, were surprisingly clean. With a pencil in hand, I was immersed in scribbling lesson plan ideas in my notebook, trying to absorb the whirlwind of a new culture when she settled in beside me. Her backpack gave a soft thud as it landed against the seat, breaking my concentration. "Mind if I take this?" she asked, her voice smooth and inviting, colored by the warm, open vowels of Melbourne, Australia. I looked up, and there she was, Kelly, 24, with a cascade of dark brown hair artfully woven into a loose braid, sun-freckled cheeks that seemed to glow in the soft light filtering through the bus windows, and eyes that sparkled like vibrant coral reefs captured in a postcard. Clad in a faded In-Excess t-shirt that hinted at her Aussie roots, she exuded an effortless charm. "I'm Kelly," she declared, extending a hand with a friendly smile that seemed to brighten the already sunlit interior. "Just got here last week. You?" "Chad," I replied, shaking her hand, my thick Glasgow accent rolling off my tongue, perhaps a bit too heavy for her to grasp fully. "From Scotland. Been here 2 weeks, still lost." She laughed, a melody that danced through the air like sunlight breaking through stormy clouds, bringing warmth and brightness to the moment. We filled the journey with conversation, diving into topics like teaching, the vibrant culture of Japan, and the delightful peculiarity of hearing American accents woven into the fabric of the local scene due to the nearby military bases. She shared her experiences as a teacher at a high school in Genoa, just a short drive from Shetan, her eyes sparkling with passion for her students and the challenges of her work. By the time we arrived in Naha, we had exchanged numbers, carefully scrawled on a torn page from my well-worn notebook. It felt like the beginning of something meaningful, though I couldn't quite grasp what shape it might take. Over the following months, a deep bond blossomed between Kelly and me, transforming our evenings into cherished rituals. Each day after work, we would meet at Araha Beach, where the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, and the rhythmic crash of the waves provided a soothing soundtrack. Together we sipped on ice-cold Asahi beers, the crisp bubbles tickling our senses, as we exchanged tales of our lives. Kelly shared vivid memories of growing up in St. Kilda, Melbourne, a vibrant neighborhood where she spent her teenage years sneaking into raucous gigs, her heart racing with the thrill of music and rebellion. Her eyes sparkled as she described the eclectic energy of her youth and her dreams of exploring distant lands. In return, I painted a picture of Glasgow's rugged allure, reminiscing about the spirited atmosphere of Barrowland, where the sounds of live music echoed off the walls, and my mother's bemused warnings that I'd never survive the stifling humidity of Japan, we found humor in our students' timid attempts at mastering English, their shy smiles reminding us of our own struggles with language and culture. It was both amusing and humbling to think of ourselves as cultural ambassadors, navigating a world rich in traditions that we still grappled to understand. Each laugh and shared glance deepened the connection we were forming, a tapestry of experiences woven under the golden glow of the setting sun. By October, our friendship had blossomed into something more profound and exhilarating. On the evening of October 12, 1996, we boarded a ferry that glided over the shimmering waters, our destination the enchanting Zamami Island for a weekend escape. As twilight descended, a velvety blanket of stars sparked to life above us. We found ourselves perched on a rugged outcrop, the cool breeze gently tussling our hair, and the rhythmic whispers of the ocean creating a soothing backdrop. Under this celestial canopy, she turned towards me, her eyes reflecting the twinkling lights above. With a soft, hesitant motion, she leaned in and kissed me. The kiss was delicate, tentative, and carried the lingering sweetness of salt and ripe mango juice from the fruit we had just savored together. "I like you, Chad," she murmured, her voice barely breaking the tranquil night air. My heart raced in response, thudding so loudly in my chest that I feared she might hear it echo. "I like you too," I managed to reply, my voice barely above a whisper, and as our lips met once more the ocean hummed a chorus around us, weaving our moment into the very fabric of that magical night. By November we had blossomed into a couple, and our weekends became a delightful exploration of the enchanting island of Okinawa. We wandered through the majestic Shurijo Castle, admiring its vibrant red-tiled roofs that sat proudly against the sky, and lost ourselves in the lively atmosphere of Kokosai Street, where the aroma of street food mingled with the laughter of vendors and shoppers alike. The tranquil ruins of Nakijin offered a serene contrast, with their ancient stones whispering the secrets of centuries past. On November 23rd, we celebrated her 25th birthday at a cozy izakaya tucked away in Shaton, the air filled with the tantalizing scent of grilled fish and the clinking of sake glasses. I gifted her a hand-carved coral necklace, a treasure I had sourced from a skilled local artisan, and her eyes glistened with tears of joy as she expressed that no one had ever put such thought into a gift for her before. That evening, wrapped in the warmth of her tiny apartment's futon, we shared whispered dreams of the future, contemplating the idea of extending our stay in Japan for another year or embarking on adventures together to discover distant lands. As the new year unfurled its promise, a subtle shift occurred in Kelly. She began to speak of home with a wistful longing, reminiscing about her parents and her younger brother, the allure of Melbourne's sun-kissed beaches pulling at her heartstrings. I tried to brush off her nostalgia, caught up in the euphoria of our own little bubble. After all, we were happy, weren't we? On February 14, 1997, we celebrated Valentine's Day at Cape Menzamo, where the dramatic cliffs loomed majestically over the tumultuous sea, waves crashing against the rocks with a fierce beauty enhanced by the stormy sky. In that moment, she surprised me with a mixtape filled with the sounds of Australian bands, Midnight Oil's passionate anthems and Crowded House's melodic tunes. In return, I gifted her a luxurious leather-bound journal, perfect for her sketches, as she found endless inspiration in the enchanting landscapes of Okinawa. With a soft smile she looked at me and said, "You're my home here," but as I glanced into her eyes, I noticed a flicker of something elusive, a bittersweet yearning that went unnoticed at the time. By March, fissures began to form in our previously seamless bond. Kelly's contract was set to expire in July, much like mine, yet she remained uncertain about whether to renew. I was eager to stay. Japan felt like an enchanting canvas on which I could paint a new version of myself. but she seemed to wrestle with her thoughts, caught in a dilemma. On March 20th, over steaming bowls of ramen in a cozy, dimly lit shop, the air thick with the rich aroma of soy and ginger, a heated discussion erupted between us. With a hint of sadness etched on her face, she confessed, "I love this Chad, you us, but I don't know if I can stay so far from home forever." My stomach twisted painfully at her words, as if a heavy weight had settled in my chest. Nevertheless, I replied with a hopeful smile, insisting that together we would find a way through this. Deep down I clung to the belief that love could mend any crack, no matter how vast it seemed. In April we made a conscious effort to keep our spirits lifted, seeking refuge in the beauty of our surroundings. On April 5th, we embarked on a trip to the breathtaking Miyako Island, where we found ourselves snorkeling in the crystal-clear waters, teeming with vibrant marine life. Beneath the surface, we swam among the colorful coral reefs, laughing and splashing, trying to escape the worries that lurked just outside our bubble of joy. However, as the sun sank below the horizon and darkness enveloped us, she would often fall silent, her gaze fixed on the ceiling, lost in thought as the shadows deepened. Then on May 15th, everything shifted with a single phone call. She answered, her expression turning somber as she heard her mother's voice. Her father was unwell, nothing life-threatening, but serious enough to send ripples of concern through her heart. The news rocked her, and I could see the tension knotting her brow. Without hesitation, she booked a flight home for June 10th, planning to be with her family for just 2 weeks. She reassured me, but I felt the weight of uncertainty in her words. On the day of her departure, I drove her to Naha Airport, the car filled with a mix of unspoken emotions. As we stood together at the terminal, I leaned in to kiss her goodbye, the warmth of her embrace a bittersweet comfort. I promised we'd talk every day, letting the words linger in the air, even as I felt the distance beginning to stretch between us. The 2 weeks stretched. On June 25th, Kelly called me from Melbourne. Her dad was stable, but she sounded distant. "I'm thinking of staying a bit longer," she said. My heart sank, but I told her to do what she needed. We talked less, time zones, bad connections, her family pulling her in. By July 1st she emailed, "I'm not coming back to Japan, Chad. I'm so sorry. I need to be here for Dad, for me." She said she loved me but couldn't see a future where we both got what we wanted. I was gutted. I wrote back begging her to reconsider, to visit, to try long distance. She replied on July 5th, "I can't ask you to leave Japan, and I can't come back. It's not fair to either of us." I stopped eating, barely slept. My lessons suffered, my students noticed. On July 20th, I mailed her the coral necklace she'd left behind, with a letter pouring out my heart. She didn't respond. By August I was a shell. On August 10th, I went to Araha Beach alone, where we'd spent so many evenings. I sat on the sand, her mixtape playing through my Walkman, and cried. The ocean didn't care. It just kept rolling in, indifferent. I decided not to renew my contract. Japan, once full of possibility, felt hollow without her. I left Okinawa on September 1st, 1997, and returned to Glasgow. The city felt smaller, grayer than I remembered. I got a teaching job at a local secondary school, but my heart wasn't in it. On October 15th, I found an old photo of us at Zamami Island, tucked in my journal. I almost called her but didn't. What was the point? In November, I learned from a mutual friend within the Jet community that Kelly had returned to Melbourne, where she was now working at a local community center, and had begun dating someone new. The news stung like a bitter reminder of what once was, but spite eluded me. Kelly had forged her own path, and I had embraced mine, however different they may be. On December 20th, Feeling a weight in my chest, I sat down to write her one final letter, not with the intention of sending it, but rather as a means to release the lingering emotions that tethered me to the past. In the letter I poured out my gratitude, expressing how she had illuminated my understanding of love, even if it was fleeting and ultimately unfulfilled. Once the letter was complete, I slipped it into the warm embrace of my mum's fireplace. As the flames danced and flickered, they consumed my carefully penned words, reducing them to ash and smoke, liberating me in the process. I watched with a mix of sorrow and relief as the fire devoured my thoughts, transforming them into embers, freeing me to move forward. By 2000, I'd moved to Edinburgh, started writing poetry, and found some peace. I never heard from Kelly again, but I hoped she was happy. Okinawa, that brief burning chapter, taught me that love can be beautiful and brutal, a wave that lifts you up and then lets you fall. I still have her mixtape, though I haven't played it in years. Sometimes when I smell salt air or hear an Aussie accent, I'm back on that bus, meeting her for the first time, not knowing how much she'd changed me.